Hello and welcome to day 21 of the Unity Game Development Journal. So, this is the day marking the third week in development. So exactly 3 weeks ago, doing a video every single day, I've sort of started the process of getting all the pieces together to build the game, right? Now today, I didn't end up doing too much because I started doing a lot of research on what I wanted to do next. One of the next things I want to do with the cutscenes is have the characters be able to move, and I thought, well, if I'm going to do that, why don't I look into doing more of a, you know, uh, an AI type movement for the NPCs. So I started looking into that, and that actually got a little bit more complicated than I thought. There's not a lot of good examples. And then I started thinking, well, does it have to be that complicated? Could I just keep it simple like the old traditional top-down games out there, real simple AIs? I could probably do it that way. So I started implementing that into the cutscenes just with just a basic target position for the character. And I decided that I wanted to start cleaning up some of the other little things first that I've been nagging about throughout the video. Like if I save the game, I want it to say save. When I walked up to the first NPC, this bee here, it wasn't showing the correct message right off the bat. So I said, before I start going too far forward with this movement thing, let's clean up some of the other things just to get those in a better spot. I also started on my hierarchy here. You can see a lot of the text is now blue. What that means is I'm converting a lot of things over to prefabs, which is something you want to do. So everything you put into your game should be constructed of prefabs or have the hierarchy filled with prefabs. So that just is much easier for the whole process of version controlling, dealing with multiple game objects of same type and all that kind of stuff. So that's just something I'm also going through and working on. I actually was able to get rid of a couple of the objects in here. I made them into just singleton instances of that class. I took out some of the mono behavior and just went to a basic C# class. So I'm just cleaning up things as I go. So why don't we go into the game here and just show you what I've done. So this is basic. So really nothing much. I did find a bug, which I'll show you in 1 second. So I'll come over here, and now the bee, instead of saying what a great day or whatever, it actually goes right into saying I really need 1 gem because it is some sort of a trader, so it should say that first. It shouldn't say the default message first. Before I had to come back a second time for it to start into that. So I fixed that little bug. The saving, now a save message will come up in the top right hand corner here. There's adventure saved, and it actually should vanish. There it goes, it vanished. Perfect. Okay, and other than that, just fixed a couple little tiny bugs, and that's about it. But I did find one big bug, which I'm going to have to show in a second. So let's see if I can just quit back to here, and we'll delete this, and oh, that's convenient. I'm not too sure why that happened. Quit to menu, new game. Yeah, very, very interesting. Why is this happening now? Wow, that's never happened before. Okay, so the new game is now jumping off right at this point here. Resume, new game. Weird. Okay, let's get out of here for a second. That's a huge bug. I never really. Maybe so I changed something today that caused that to happen. Maybe I think I might know what I did. Okay, so I'm going to quit to menu. Okay. But then if I were to go here and hit the save, and then quit to menu and do new game, yeah, okay. So what's happening here is the game model is not being reset, and I think that's because I took the game model and I removed it from being a game object and went to a singleton. And what typically happened was the game model was brought in when the scene was brought in, which reset it. So now that it's not doing that, now that I always have it as a class that just gets fed data, I have to remember to feed it brand new data on the scene change. So that's something. Okay, so let's go in and show you this other big bug I found. So there's another bug. You know, these are the types of things that I typically find throughout the day when I introduce a new feature. Something else gets a little bit messed up. And this wasn't the fact that I was introducing a feature, but it's typically when I start refactoring code based on a new feature. Like today I wanted the save thing to pop up and fix a couple bugs, and at the same time I refactored to be this one game object to be more like the way I want it to be in the future. And by doing that refactoring, it did cause that bug. So that's sort of what you end up with. I'm going to go into new game here. Sorry, I wanted to show you the bug there, so I need to do that again. So if you go in a new game, this has a dialog right here. But if I come along the edge here and start doing it, the E button doesn't do anything anymore. It's not considering this an interactable. Now, see down here I have this, we have null for usable interactable. I just put that debug message in there for when it doesn't find an interactable in the area, it doesn't return anything. And that all comes from how I'm actually searching for the interactable, which is this line of code here. So it's finding usable interactables, and it goes through and it tries to, it goes through a list of all the close colliders and narrows it down to be within 40 degrees. So I'm wondering if I change this to be like 180, I wonder if that fixes it. I wonder if it's just the 40-degree thing, which we're right on top of it. So I'm gonna have to really rethink that and do some serious testing, but okay, that wasn't very good. I have to get right to the bushes. Okay, new game, go right over to the bushes. Okay, it seems to be working. Maybe it's just that 40-degree angle it doesn't make any sense because I'm facing down and it should just hit. See this facing direction, that's why I'm thinking it shouldn't matter, but it is. What the proper way I would typically do this if I wasn't on camera here is I'd probably set up some debug logs just to print out, so there it's working there, to print out the actual angle that's happening. Why don't we do that? So let's debug, because then we'll find out exactly what the number is. You know, it's funny when you're on camera, you don't typically always work the same way that you would if you weren't. So we'll just, let's do this. So angle to interactable, let's just check it out. Let's just see what it is at. And we'll go right through here again. And I'm assuming that this is the issue because when I change it, it does change the effect of it. So, okay. So I'm going to hit that. Okay, so I'm going to go to here and see if that logged properly. So we'll just push this up here. Angle to interactable 78. So see the 40. Okay, so what it's probably doing is, let's just take a look at this in the scene so you could see. So I should have done that debug log right from the start. I probably would have if I wasn't recording here. That's typically how I handle these issues. I put a debug log in, check out an actual thing that's happening with the variable, and then I fix it from there. So we can easily determine what's wrong here. So in the cutscenes, this is going to be the front path cutscene. So you can see here with the green lines there, see how large that is? So if I showed the movement of the cutscene controller, now see the actual pivot point? That is the point that is being tested with the character's pivot point, which is in the middle. So when I'm way over here, it's doing an angle from there all the way over to there. And then it's calculating an angle from there to there of 78.5 degrees. Now, it's the reason for that is that the further I go over, the larger this number gets because it's such a large area that I'm calculating off of, and the height is so small. So I can get really, really close to the center line, the x-axis, but the pivot that causes the angle to be much larger, right? It's getting much closer to the 90 number, 90 degrees from the direction I'm facing. Yeah, so that makes a lot of sense. So if I am here, there's rem. Okay, so if I am here and you look at the cutscene, so facing straight down is the direction I'm facing, that's 0. And you can see the angle, how much I have to turn to get to that center point there. So that is quite a long ways to turn. So if I could come even further, like because this doesn't have much depth to it, I can come quite close to that x-axis. and that would mean that it's getting very close to 90. If I'm right on the x-axis, that's a 90-degree angle to my facing. So because of the shape of this cutscene, that is what's causing the issue. And the shape of this is actually something that's going to be fairly standard because I want to be able to take up a whole path. So anytime you cross the path at any point in the path, this triggers a cutscene. So because of that, if I wanted the angle to stay at 40 degrees, I'd have to make that quite a large area. And it doesn't make sense to always do that. I'd like to just make it a little strip here. So I'm thinking the 80 degree, I wonder what I have it set at here. 80. That's fairly good because I'm going to have some sort of depth to it. I could make it like 95, but I know I had it set to 40 for a reason. For when I have multiple small objects close to each other, I wanted to hit that fairly close. So, yeah, that's probably, there's another way I could do it where I could have that number, which shouldn't be set here. What this should be set at is, what would this number be called? Angle to interactable is less than base angle. So this would be a private const float base angle to test against. That's a terrible name. So this is angle to interactable, so we'll be what's it called? For now we'll just do that. So we'll just do 80. We'll do 80. Yeah, 80 works. Actually, I should do 85. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is just swap that out. Boom, run that, build success. Okay, so that solved that bug. That's good. The other bug was, let me try and remember here. Oh, I should probably move other. Okay. Oh yeah, the save thing. Yeah, that's a huge one. Okay, so that bug is caused by the game model. I don't have that up here, so let's go take a look at that. So in the project, I have the scripts and the models, the game model. And what I've done here is I've created it as an instance there. So it creates itself. If one doesn't exist, it creates a new game model, blah, blah, blah. So it's just there through it. Like it gets created once when you start the game up, and it's just there no matter what scene you're into or whatever. So what needs to happen is on new game, this. Okay, so let's see where I load. So this calls new game. So what do I do? Data is set to game stats. So maybe I should just do this on new game. Yeah, I'll just hard code that in because what's happening is it's not what I was doing before was it was calling this when you got into the scene because it was generating this game object and then would call this. But now that it's not doing that on every scene load, this new game is sort of starting off with that data from the previous thing and just saying, oh, the data scene name is this. So what I have to do on new game is actually set data to this new thing. So there you go. And I can save this and perfect. On continue game, it just sets data to the selected game. So it makes a lot of sense. On new game, it's a new one. And on continue game, it sets it to the selected game. Perfect. So I think that just solved that bug. That was a pretty easy one. Just took a little bit of thinking. And because of that, this player is not going to change, I don't think. No, it does. Okay. So let's go and test that this actually worked. So far everything's still working. So I can come up here and adventure saved. Beautiful. Now that's lasting for like 5 seconds, which I thought I had changed that. But anyways, so I'm just going to go out of here and back in, and new game should start me here. Okay, so before it was starting me over there. Actually, no, we were doing that off of the pause screen. So that's probably where we want to test it. So I'm going to go back here and adventure saved, and then we'll just go back to return to menu, new game. Perfect, that fixed it. Excellent. So we solved 2 bugs in this episode here. So maybe that's a good idea for this. It's a longer episode, but got to see a bit of the process of solving these bugs. And there you go. So that looks good. Perfect. Let's see if this, okay, it still works. Everything still works as far as I could tell. Excellent. So actually we got a Ruby, so let's go test that this still works. For the interactable, it does. Perfect. Now, see how there's an interactable trash can here and interactable sign? So I'm facing here. It knew that which one I was doing, even though we changed that angle of, like if I'm facing here, 90 degrees would be very close to that. But this would be a closer angle, right? This would hit at probably 0, unless I was like here. So this is a pretty cool test to see if that would actually do anything. So adventure saved. Okay, let's wait for that to vanish there, and I'll test it again. Adventure saved. Okay. Let's stand back here and see. I don't know, so I'm going to get a gem here and test that. So I'm going to stand back, face sort of away from both of them, but adventure saved. Okay, so let's go up here. I still have the ruby, so it didn't set that off. There. So if I'm standing here and push it, I'm too far away from this, because I guess, yeah. Okay, so that's how it's working. Anyways, there you go. So there's a bunch of testing, debugging, fixing problems, and the process of where the game's at currently. Thanks for tuning in, and I know this was a super long one, but hopefully it was a bit interesting. So thanks for watching day 21, end of week 3. Very exciting in the game development phase. And subscribe if you want to follow on with the game development. Have comments if you've seen something you didn't like or had something to say. Maybe I did something a little bit wrong. You wanted me to see me do it differently, or you just want to ask some questions. Comment below and like the video if I entertained you at all. Thank you very much. Goodbye.